So it's a beautiful day today here in Neath, South Wales. The temperatures are set to get up to about 15 degrees and there's no rain forecast now for the next week or so. So basically at this time of year, at the beginning of the season, I start to focus on feeding some of the larger plants, such as the palms, the trachycarpus, the tetropanax, and just to get them off to a good start for the season. So most of you will probably be horrified at my schedule, as I haven't got a feeding schedule. It's basically on a when I remember basis. So I don't go out and spend an awful lot of money on different feeds for different palm trees or anything like that. What I pick up in B&M, a lot of it is liquid seaweed and chicken manure pellets. So let me take you through and I'll show you exactly what I use to get the garden growing the way that this one does here. So the garden here now is going into its 5th year this year, and I've got plenty of different palm trees here, the Dicksonia antarctica there. There's plenty of Trachycarpus virginii, and I also grow the waggy palm as well, which is that one there with its stiffer leaves. So at this time of year, I normally tend to feed these with a few handfuls of chicken manure pellets, and that seems to do the trick quite well. So we are very lucky here in this garden. The earth is a lovely dark brown and very rich, and underneath there's plenty of clay. So all of these large plants seem to thrive really well on the earth. So another plant that's also put on loads of growth in the past week is the tetropanax. It's still early in the year. It's not even the end of April yet, but just look at the size on them leaves coming on there. So that also is going to have a little bit of a feed in. So moving now into the greenhouse, and you can see that this is where I keep all the food that I use in the garden. So what I have bought this year is some food for my rhododendrons and my camellia, and it's the first time that I've ever used this. So the Tomorite I'm going to start using this year on the tree fern, just a little bit of half strength, and hopefully that'll help now with the growth. The organic seaweed, I really do need to pick up another one of these. This one here is almost empty, so I bought that last year, so I need to pick up another one. And the bone meal we always use when we're planting into the ground, but after reading the packet today I now realise that it can also be used as a little bit of a feed as well on established plants. So looking underneath, there's my rose food. And this, which is the most important one of all, is the chicken manure. So this is a box. It does come in tubs as well, but they didn't have any in stock. This was £9 here for 3.5 kilos. And if I do buy boxes, I tend to use a box now at the beginning of the season and again sort of halfway through the season. So that's one of the jobs that I got to do today, is just to place these chicken manure pellets around the palms. And this one, although it's not the biggest in the garden, it's definitely the most healthiest. So there's plenty of growth there coming in the centre, new leaves. And this is my favourite one in the garden. I love this plant. And since we've had it, it went in quite small, but it's grown quite wide now. So this is going to be the first one that I'm going to start feeding today with the chicken manure pellets. So let's open the box and start spreading them around. So I've opened the box and it's definitely got a distinct smell. So you can see that this now is just the pellets in here. So I just give each palm a few handfuls just around the base. And with these palm trees, they love the extra nutrients. And that's it. So it's best to do it really when it's not going to rain, as you don't really want all the nutrients to be washed away. So that palm will love that there now. So this palm tree here is a little Washingtonia, and these aren't particularly hardy palms in the UK. But saying that, we've never protected ours, and you can see that in there's definitely a nice bit of growth coming. So I'm not too worried about that, but I do know that these do enjoy a good bit of water throughout the season. People tend to keep them quite dry, but palm trees do enjoy a little bit of watering. So with the tree ferns, this year I'm going to be a little bit more particular, and in this watering can I've got half strength Tomorite, which is a tomato feed, and I'm going to pour this directly into the crown of the plant and give it a really good soaking. Now the fronds here are really pushing through now, so I think it'll really enjoy the extra nutrients. And it's best to keep these quite damp, these tree ferns. So I've given it a whole can of water and Tomorite. Lovely. Let's do the other one. So again, onto the bargain tree fern, and I've mixed in half a cupful of Tomorite into a whole watering can, and I'm pouring that straight in to the crown of the plant. And I'm doing this now while the weather is dry, as I don't want to dilute it down any further with rain. So you can't really water a tree fern too much. Lovely. I think it'll thank me for that. So I've also given the bamboo here in the corner a good feed of chicken manure pellets, and this is the Robusta Campbell. So this hasn't long been transplanted, so I'm trying to keep this bamboo as damp as possible, but it is pushing through with some new growth. And Vim has recently taken a liking to settling down for the afternoon in this bed here. I think on top of the gravel it gets lovely and warm, and he presses himself up against the stones. He seems very comfy there. So that's where I leave him, I think, for the rest of the day. So we've also got another waggy at the bottom of the garden here, and this one has been in now for a few years. So they don't tend to grow very quickly, these palms, but there's definitely new growth there coming in the centre, so it's doing okay. So I've given that a feed, and behind that you can see that that is one of the newest palms, and that's a Fortunii, and we had that from B&M. So it's doing all right there, tucked at the back of the border, and the span on that now has got to be about 9 foot across, but it's doing well. Nice healthy plant. So that too has had some chicken manure pellets. Now this palm here, this is a cordyline indivisa, and just look at the size on that. It's absolutely huge. This was bought last year. It's quite a small plant in B&M. We brought it home in the car, and there is no way that you would get that in a car now. The span on that has got to be 10 foot wide. So that has really grown well for us in this garden. So that has also had a good feed of the chicken manure pellets, and I'll continue now throughout the season with some liquid seaweed on these palms. Now along the side wall we also have this lovely palm here, and this was hidden for a good few years when we had a rather large bamboo there, but that's been taken out, and since that's been taken out this is now getting a lot more sunshine and it's doing really well. So there's a new leaf just coming out there, and this is also doing really well in the garden. This was forgotten about for quite a few years, and I don't think it really ever had a feed. So I think it'll really enjoy having some chicken manure pellets today. There's two other palms here which were completely forgotten about in this border. And the one on the left, that was quite small up until last year, but then I thinned out all this border, giving these two palms the more sunshine that they needed. And since then, they've really put on some growth. And they fit in really well in this border here. And all of the palms now in the garden are looking wonderful. So the tetropanax has also had some chicken manure pellets sprinkled around the base. And again, I will continue now throughout the season feeding this with some liquid seaweed in the water. It's quite windy today, but it is quite warm. And that is growing day by day now. Wonderful. So it's later on now in the early evening, and I did manage today to get everything done in the garden that I wanted to do. I did run out of chicken manure pellets, so I need to get another box now this weekend, and also another liquid seaweed. So the next thing that I want to start feeding with the pellets is the Musa Baju bananas. This clump here started off as one banana a few years ago, and last year we had 4 pups, so we now have 5 bananas here, and they really will enjoy the extra nutrition. So we've also got some more bananas just here near the back door, and these are the Musa Baju hardy bananas, and already the leaves are growing out, but they are getting rather tatty now with the wind. So as the season goes on, these will continue to push out some new leaves, and those older leaves can be trimmed away. But they are designed to be separated now with the wind, and they just shred with the weather. Lovely to see these coming back after protecting them all winter long. So the Fatsia japonica is also pushing out some lovely new growth here. And just look at all these lovely baby leaves on the top here, all glossy green. So when I do pick up my box of chicken manure pellets, this will also be getting a good surround. So I also love coming out here at this time of the evening. It's so peaceful and it's lovely really to be spending some evening time now in the garden. And the garden looks so magical at this time of day. Just a word of warning though, if you are using the chicken manure pellets in the garden, then please do keep them away from the acid-loving ericaceous style plants, as they really don't like the chicken manure pellets. It's best to use a speciality feed for those type of plants. So I will continue now throughout the season just with the liquid seaweed on the palm trees. And as I said, I haven't really got a regular schedule, and I do tend to water my garden with rainwater. I've got 3 water butts here, but they are running quite empty at the moment. So I'll try and use as much water from the water butts as I can. And about once a week then, I'll just give them a little bit of the liquid seaweed. And just a little update there against the arbour. That's the jasmine that I planted not long ago. And that is coming out now with some new growth also. So hopefully that'll be up that trellis now in no time. So it's lovely to come out now in the early evening and just to spend a little bit of time just walking around the garden while the weather is still quite warm. And it's lovely to have these lovely spring days when the sun is shining, and I'm definitely making the most of that time. Now I've also got the bamboos in the pot here. Now this one here is the golden bamboo, and just behind that there I've got the black bamboo. Now these are lovely in the pot. Both of these are running bamboos, which is why I keep them in a pot to keep them under control. And I don't want these to overgrow, so I don't feed these with any chicken manure pellets, but I do give them just a little bit of liquid seaweed now throughout the season, just to help them to stay in beautiful condition. So as the garden now starts to grow throughout the season, I'll keep you updated with regular videos just to show you the progress now in the garden. But at the moment, everything is doing just fine. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look around the garden today and seeing what I use to feed the plants to get the maximum growth this season. So if you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.